Thank you for coming to the January 12th, 2026 City Commission work session here at the City of Muskegon. To begin, we thank you all for coming, all of you all on watching us live. We appreciate it. We will have opportunity for public comment after we finish new business, and you can feel free to call in to the number that pops up on the screen, which is City Commissioners.
It's 231-724-6721. That will be after our discussion items.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we begin with attendance, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll just go right into discussion.
Oh, right
Yep.
into discussion.
Yep.
So if we could start with BSNA online payments, which is our number A. And please state your name.
Good evening, Sarah Wilson, City Treasurer.
Thank you. Go ahead, you have the floor.
All right. So I am bringing to you tonight the idea of changing our payment processor from Point and Pay to the BSNA online payments platform. Point and Pay is working fine, but BSNA about a year and a half ago created their own platform, which introduced some additional opportunities to provide our customers. And after doing some analysis of their product, I think it would be a better product for our customers overall. So I do have a short presentation here that I will flip through. I won't go through each line by line. I just want to point out some of the highlights of why I think this is a better product for us. And then hit a few talking points that I have. And I do have Willie Karuppi, our sales rep from BSNA, here with me tonight. So if you had any questions specifically about BSNA that I can't answer, Willie is here to help me out with those. So, looks like it's up. You can see that, BSNA has a few points up here about challenges with the current system and the solutions that their product brings. The one I'd like to point out is number 3, the inefficient and disjointed customer support. Right now, when our customers have an issue with an online payment, they have to figure out whether they need to contact BSNA, being a software issue, or if they need to contact Point and Pay, being a payment issue. Sometimes we don't know that. That's difficult for us as well. And so this would make it much easier. They would have one customer support number to call, no matter what the problem is behind the scenes. So I think that would be very helpful for our residents. This is, it's important, but I don't think we need to go line by line. But this slide right here, if you look at that first point, the modern user interface, this is something that really drew us to the product. It's their first redo since 2011. This interface is only available to people that use this payment platform. It's not available to those of us that use the Point and Pay platform. And a little bit later, I'm going to show you the difference between the two screens. And if you use the online payments at all, you're going to notice there's a big difference. It's much more user-friendly with this new system. It's much easier for our customers to figure out how to get where they need to go, how to make the payments they want. And it just looks more modern. There's buttons to push versus trying to figure out menus to browse through. And I think that was something that we noticed on our end right away. And, there's different customers that use this product, whether it's a resident that's trying to pay a bill, but there's also title agencies that use this product to do a search for liens against the property when they're trying to close a property. So, it's important that all of our users be able to use the product, and I think this will definitely improve their experience as well. Some of the features that are important in this new product, the auto pay capability. Right now, our customers don't have the option to sign up for auto pay themselves. They have to do it through us. They could do this themselves on this new online website. They wouldn't have to make a payment every month. It's just signed up for auto pay, automatically makes the payment, makes life easier for those of us that want that simplicity. automatic card updates. So when somebody's card expires, this will get it updated rather than them not knowing that it's expired. We get a bounce back notice. We have to notify them. It also can do a check when somebody does an online ACH or an e-check, is what it's called right now. If they put in a wrong account number or if their account is closed, anything like that, we don't know it until they process that payment and we get a notice days later. This checks it right at that point that the person enters it and will automatically give them a notification that that account is not a valid account. So they don't process a payment believing that it's gone through and they find out 7 days later that it did not go through. That is something that I think on our end would be a big benefit as well. That's a big source of frustration for residents. And it's more secure. It has chip compatibility. Our system right now is not chip enabled. So if you have a chip card that you insert into a card reader, we don't have that capability right now. At the time that the system came out, that wasn't necessary, but it is becoming necessary, I believe, at the beginning of next year. So it's just something that's bringing us more up to date. So if you look at this screen, and I know it's hard to see, but if any of you use our online system right now, this is the screen that you see when you go online to try to make a payment. It's not user-friendly at all. And it's old. I mean, it hasn't been redone since 2011. And now this is what it's going to look like when you go. There's buttons there. It's very simple. You click pay a bill, and then it's going to take you to the options. Do you want to pay a tax bill? Do you want to pay a water bill? Much more user-friendly. The checkout is easier. So, just from ease of use for this piece of it, it's definitely more updated. There are more ways to pay with this system. So residents can tap to pay. We will have new checkout, I don't know what you call them, little kiosks kind of thing, little handheld device readers that people can use to tap their credit card. They cannot do that right now. We have to swipe or manually enter a credit card. More importantly, they can use Apple Pay, they can use Google Pay, they can use all those digital methods that people want to use that we don't have the capability of taking right now. And again, it's more secure, more consistent, increased reliability, all those things that we want as we move forward in the digital age. The big thing on this, fewer resident issues, fewer failed payments, more self-service options, clearer checkout process, all the things that we hear from our customers that they want, it's available in this product. Like I said, it launched in 2024. I think they told me that the 513 municipalities that have signed on, that was as of November. They've got significantly more now. More and more people are jumping on this every day. We have a neighboring municipality that is on this platform. Everything I've heard, they love it. Their residents love it. One of my staff members happens to live in that municipality. She says it's much easier to use than what we currently have. So right now, Point and Pay is a third-party processor. BSNA is not going to take away our ability to decide to use a third-party processor. However, there will come a point where we are going to have to pay a fee if we choose to continue to use an outside payment processor. So, we're probably going to have to look at the solution anyway down the road if we don't look at it today. It isn't going to be forced upon us, but it would just make financial sense. And so I think offering these options to our residents now is certainly better for us. So that's everything I had on the PowerPoint. The only other thing is I just wanted to point out that this also works on a mobile device, which if you've tried to use the current platform on a mobile device, it's not very friendly. It does not work very well. This is mobile friendly. And again, people can use their mobile wallets for Apple Pay, Google Pay, Tap to Pay. They can also text to pay, which I know has been a big request as well. It's going to reduce the amount of time that the staff members in my office spend supporting the payment questions and issues people calling us, asking us how to use the platform. It's not working for me. Who do I call? How do I get help? And reduce that frustration on the customer's end as well. And again, fewer failed ACH payments. That's a big one for us lately. We've gotten a lot of those. Even people that move out and disable that bank account, but there's still a balance on the account. So every month, that system is trying to take that payment from their account. Every month, it bounces back at us. So that kind of thing will be reduced or hopefully eliminated with this system. The one thing I want to address is the fees. So the fee is slightly higher. Right now, if someone wants to pay with a credit card, either at the counter or online, it's a 2.8% fee. With this system, it would be 2.8% plus 50 cents. So an additional 50 cents per transaction for the resident. The ACH or e-check payment online, right now it's 85 cents. It would go up to $1.25. But again, there's more security checks for that additional fee built into the system. So it is slightly higher. However, no one has to use the system. The people that are taking advantage of the system are the people that are doing so for convenience. And so I think with the slightly higher fee, we're offering them more convenience. We're offering them more options. And there's still always the option to pay by cash, to pay by check. We've got a multitude of other options they can pay with no extra fee. So no one has to pay this fee. It's just simply affording us a better opportunity for those who want to use this platform. I think I've covered, there's no extra fees to us as the municipality. The only fee we would have to pay is we do have to buy the little readers for each cashier station, and they are $350 a piece. But at the end of the day, that's pretty cheap for something that will work for years to come. So I think we have to buy a total of, I estimated, I have to double check, but like 15 of these. So we're talking about $5,000 total. So, I mean, that's something that we could easily fit within our existing budgets for, equipment. Other than that, there's no fees to us. So I think I've covered everything. Jonathan, if I missed it.
Great job. One thing, the flexibility that we have with the new updated pay cubes, like we can take them to different areas.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So the little terminals that we would use to tap to pay or insert your card or Google Pay, whatever, that actually is mobile. So if we had an event down at the farmer's market, we could take that with us. It would integrate into our software. So if we're selling tickets for a food truck down at the farmer's market, we could take those with us. Those transactions would automatically go into our system. So the fact that those are mobile for us is really helpful. It would get away from, hopefully, from using Square, which is what we're using currently.
Excellent. Thank you, Director Wilson, for presenting this tonight and for exploring these options and bringing this opportunity forward to us. It definitely sounds like a lot of improvement, a lot of
Yes.
helpful, customer-friendly features that are going to be available with the new system, as well as making it overall more secure.
Yes, absolutely.
So that is appreciated. Commissioners, this is on our agenda tomorrow evening for adoption. Do you have any questions or comments to share this evening? Vice Mayor Keener.
A quick question with the POS system, is there a certain allotted amount of warranty time for it? Are we like after 5 years, if it's like my POS system, after so many years, you have to update it, and that's an expense.
The
that we have to
only
pay?
thing would be perhaps the little handheld terminals. And when I asked about that, they didn't have necessarily like a specific lifespan. So I mean, at the point that they become obsolete or no longer function, I suppose we'd have to replace them. But there is no time frame of after 5 years or anything like that.
Okay.
Commissioner Cochin.
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much for reporting out on this. I appreciate that. When I saw this, I got really excited because I pay all of my bills on the BSNA for the water department, and it is a pain in the butt. And sometimes you think
is.
you've checked out and you haven't. And then you get that late notice, and that's not fun. So I think that having this be more streamlined is going to be a huge positive for the general public. I don't think the fees are outrageous. Do I love that we have to increase them? No, but it does give us more flexibility, and for people to be able to pay with Google Pay or Apple Pay, I think that increases that. And the text to pay, I don't know if this is going to be a question for you or if it's going to be for the BSNA specialist, but I want to know a little bit more about that. Could that eliminate or reduce the amount of paper bills that we need to send out?
I don't believe that's going to be the case, and maybe Willie knows more about how that works exactly. I don't know offhand exactly how that works. I just know that's an option that they have.
Okay.
Mr. Manager,
Yeah,
something to
I mean,
interject?
Willie, you can come up too, but folks can sign up to have their bills emailed to them so that they eliminate that paper option there, and then we do credit them 75 cents if they do that, and then if they do automatic payments, it's another 75 cents. So there's ways to offset that and to reduce your paper usage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because especially with the paper, when you get the bill, then you get the envelope to go back, and if you pay it online, you're not sending that envelope back, and yeah.
Although if you bring them back, we save them and reuse them. I'm just saying.
Well, that's good to know.
We absolutely do. So.
The other question I wanted to ask you about was in regards to, I think it was number 8 on the customer frequently asked questions on page 22. It talks about channels that BSNA payment doesn't currently support, and it says does not support bank direct payments, which I would assume is the ECH that you were mentioning earlier.
It is different,
different?
I
Okay.
believe. This way you would use a checking account where you have to enter your account number and a routing number. I believe that would be a little bit different where it would be like an automatic debit to your account that we would initiate. We wouldn't do that
Okay.
through this channel. We do
Gotcha.
have that as an option through auto pay, but it wouldn't be through this.
Through this channel. Okay, but people could still potentially do that.
Absolutely,
Then-
yeah. They can
okay.
come in and sign up for the automatic payment, and we can automatically debit a bank or checking account. A checking or savings account for you, and you get the discount with that as well.
Excellent.
75-cent credit.
And then with the kiosk portion of that, I know we just have that nice new kiosk out there. Is that going to eliminate the ability
It
to
is
do that
not.
there?
It
Okay.
is not. So right now, that kiosk, it has, it's not directly integrated with BSNA. It is compatible with BSNA in that we use imports and exports from each of the systems each day. So we import the data from the DivDat kiosk into the BSNA system, but it's not processed. The payment is not processed through this system. That is separate. So we will continue to have that kiosk option that people can use for free for a cash or check payment. They can continue to get that reduced 2.49% credit card fee using that kiosk. That will definitely not go away. It's just not processed through this platform.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Cochin. Commissioner German.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director. You just answered the question I was going to ask about the kiosk. I do use that. Never used the BSNA, but after reading through the agenda here, I see no reason why it would cause an issue or a problem. I think it would better serve our customers from the way you explained it. One thing I always look at when we talk about software, the security portion of it. Can you speak on that?
I am by no means an IT expert. That is definitely their department. But, we're already using BSNA for our financial data. And so I don't think this would present any other kind of risk. If anything, perhaps it would reduce it, being that now we have it on one platform versus two. It avoids us having to go out to a separate website to pull payments, to void payments, things that we're doing right now. So, I don't feel like there's any additional risk to this, and I fully believe that if our IT department thought that there was, they would have told me up front. So I feel confident that this would not be a security risk at all.
So haven't had any security threats or anything done with it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And, our IT team really is top notch. They do a fantastic job protecting us overall on all of our platforms, so I don't think this one would be any more at risk than anything else.
Okay, well, that's good to know. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner German. Commissioner Kilgo.
Thank you. So the software that we use right now is just powered by BSNA because when you log on, it says BSNA, but it's not BSNA. Is that
It is BSNA. However, when you process a credit card or a bank transaction, you have to have a third-party processor actually process that payment. And so BSNA decided to become their own third-party processor and create this platform so that you didn't have to have that outside party doing that for you anymore. So it is BSNA's program that you see when you log on. However, and this makes sense, they're not going to put a lot of money into that program that the third party is making money off of. And so instead, they've created this great new platform that we can take advantage of, that they are going to put their time and energy into keeping, top notch. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the old one, it certainly works, but it's not as wonderful and as capable as this new one is. So it is still a BSNA program that you see. It's just, it hasn't been updated since 2011, and it's probably not going to be updated from the way it looks right now.
for sure 15 years? And I'm all about keeping up with technology, right? So I like the updates. I use BSNA on my job every day. So like I do a lot of property record searches. Is that us or is that the county? Like because I pay for every record search I do.
It depends on how you log in. It is a little bit confusing. So you can do it through us or you can do it through the county. You have to be cautious when you log in to look and see if it says you're searching the city of Muskegon or the county of Muskegon. And that is one of the things that is confusing for our residents, very much so. And so you can do it either way, but
Well, I brought that up for that exact reason. If I was a consumer and I'm going on, I know to select the municipality that I'm going for. If we change to their new software, which I'm in favor of, it's going to be easier for the consumers to know, okay, I'm in the right place.
yes, it's
Okay.
going to be a different forward-facing screen that they see when they log into our system versus the county's, because the county is not on this platform.
Okay.
They have a different third-party processor.
Okay. And then, my last question was, I was a little confused about the fee. You said currently it's 2.8%. If we change it's 2.8% plus 50 cents, that's for like if I pay my water bill?
It's for any transaction that you make.
Okay.
So yes, a
Well-
water bill, a tax bill,
What was the $1.25?
that is for an e-check. So if you're online and you want to do an e-check, that's what it's called right now. They call it an ACH through the BSNA platform. But if you want to pay electronically from your checking account,
Gotcha.
that's what that's for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kilgo. Any other questions or comments, commissioners? No? All right, thank you. Thank you, Director Wilson.
Thank you.
This is on our consent agenda tomorrow for adoption. And thank you, Vice Mayor Keener, for getting our meeting started this evening while I was delayed by a few minutes.
My pleasure.
Appreciate that. Putting you to work in your chair right off the bat. Good evening. If you kindly introduce yourself and please report on this item with regard to a American Public Works Association monument proposal.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you. I'm Dan Vanderhyde, Director of Public Works for the City of Muskegon. I'm here before you with a proposal by the American Public Works Association, or specifically its local chapter. Just to be clear, this is not the City of Muskegon Public Works Department that is bringing this proposal. This is the trade association that represents public works agencies all across the country. And we have some representatives from the Western Michigan branch of that group. They have put together a committee, and they are interested in placing a monument to public works. They believe somewhere in West Michigan to be the ideal location, and they have a proposal to put it on the Muskegon Channel. I'm going to let them give more detail on it, but I will introduce them. We have Derek Gatos, who is from the city of Grand Haven, and John Corney from the city of Grand Rapids, and they're both members of the local branch. So I'll let them talk through their presentation, and then we're happy to answer any questions when they're done.
Excellent. Thank you, Director Vanderhyde. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Your Honor, or Mayor.
Welcome.
I call my mayor Your Honor, so sorry, Your Honor. My name's Derek Gatos. I'm with the city of Grand Haven. This is John Gorney, city of Grand Rapids. And we're here to talk to you tonight about the possibility of creating a monument honoring those who work in public works. So I just want to talk about real quick about our association. It's a national association headquartered in Kansas City, Missouri. There's a Michigan chapter. We oversee, there's 6 branches currently. I'm the vice president of the Midwest branch. John is a trustee. However, don't let that fool you. John has been president, vice president, treasurer. He's been everything on this board in the past. He likes to tell everybody he's just a trustee now, and he's way more than that. I think he's been on the board 19 years. I've been on the board 6 years. And so Jesse Morgan unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. He's our past president. He's also on this committee as well. So what is this? Well, I'm not going to read everything. Just I think you guys have seen this previously, but this idea stemmed from some conversation back in like 2017 with my old city manager Pat McGinnis, and he says, why isn't there one? He searched around. There's monuments to almost every profession, and they're great professions: firefighters, police officers, nurses, doctors. All these monuments honoring their professions, and there isn't one for Public Works. There is a Public Works Memorial. It's in
Somewhere on the East Coast.
I think it's in Massachusetts somewhere. And that's, we talked about that at first and said, well, we don't want to necessarily create a memorial. We want to create a monument where someone can understand and appreciate the profession that the Public Works serves in our communities. Why not here in West Michigan? Perfect place. And along the lake shore, I think, is what our committee had leaned towards right at first. And so it's been on the drawing board for a few years. We've talked to another community before. It didn't work out in that community, and Muskegon was our second choice. Started working with Leo Evans. Of course, he vanished to Colorado, unfortunately. So we let Dan take about a year to settle in, and then we reapproached him, and been working with Dan ever since. So, and so, you know, what would a monument look like? It's one of those things where we just envision a public space that people can enjoy, sit down, relax, watch the beauty of our community, and tell a story through artwork or materials reflecting on the profession. So we actually the proposed location. We looked at actually with a few different ones with Leo. And actually, we're working with Judy Hayner, is it? Yep. Amazing woman, by the way. I love her to death. So we sat down and talked to her about, some different locations, some other artworks that you guys were starting to implement at the time. And I remember the portal was one of them. She told us about that way before it was being designed or built. And so we're excited that Muskegon has art and had that vision. So we actually settled on this location because we really wanted to sit down where people could see, visitors could come and really see the beauty. And Lake Michigan, there's no more better glory or beauty than that. So that was one of the reasons why we chose this site. This is conceptual site plans. Abamarsh is the engineer that has helped us. They've done all this pro bono. And so they came up with this with some conversations with Dan and Todd and the committee and even Judy. We think this would work well in this community. We thought long and hard about all of the aspects of how it would integrate with the community and the traffic and the residents. So really think this would be an ideal spot for this monument. These are just ideas. Nothing has been set in stone on any type of artwork. We want to work with local artists to help us create these ideas. There were some that we found on the internet were from other monuments that might, give us an idea. But really, we want those artists to work with our design committee to select the type of artwork and materials to use on this site. Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a while. So we do have the support of not only our branch, but also our chapter, and actually the APWA National is really excited about this. It gets reported on every month, and where we're going with it. Are we gonna do it? There is not one in the nation, so we're the only ones trying to seek this. So today we're just hoping to hear you out and see what your ideas are. And just get some type of support from the commission, and then come back for formal support at a later date. And of course, the actual artwork and stuff like that. Again, we don't know what it's going to be. We want to make sure when we come back and ask, or we have a process that makes the city have the final say in some of those. We don't want to put something there you don't want or wouldn't support. So. Seeding. There's not a whole lot of seeding on the site. There's some gravel out there, but we want to make sure that it integrates in well within the community. So sight lines, we talked about that. I talked about that just previously, but making sure that when the residents or visitors come around, we're not blocking sight lines either. Funding, very important part, right? I actually sit on the funding committee right now, fundraising committee, and we want to make sure that that when we're done, the city of Muskegon taxpayers are not on the hook for maintaining this monument. So we're here. We're going to stay with it. We're going to overfund, and we want to create a foundation, a pot of money that will pay to have this thing maintained. So this isn't something you're gonna love and then have to pay for the rest of your career. How that gets done, we've got ideas, but we want to work with the city on how you guys would like to do that. Whether you use your own staff and we reimburse you for their costs, or we pay someone to maintain it. Either way, right now our preliminary budget's about 1.75 million, including the perpetual care funding. Just got an update that might be pushing over 2 million with some of the estimates we're getting now. So. As I said, the medium and artists, we want to make sure that we're working locally and in the best interest of the city. So next steps. Well, we're hoping for a resolution of support here in February potentially. We'll get an operational agreement drafted, and then start fundraising. And so I think that we could probably finalize and construct this monument next year and the year after. So we got a lot of money to raise. We think we can, well, we know we can do it. Just how long it's going to take us to do it. And so we'll get her done with your support.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you being here this evening, presenting this opportunity with us and for us, but moreover for your persistence and diligence. This has been a long time coming. I've been working on it for many years, so I appreciate that you've continued to carry that forward, and I appreciate our Dan's predecessor, Director Evans, for being welcoming and receiving of this, and working with you on advancing that, and then giving Director Vanderhyde time to settle in before revisiting it with him. But I appreciate that he's picked it up and carried this forward. I think this would be a great asset for our community, and I'm honored, and we're honored that you're considering the City of Muskegon to house this first of its kind monument, which is a monument to a very important profession, one that serves communities all across this country in very important and significant ways. So I think it's important. I really appreciate too the thoughtfulness in which you've approached this. Looking to fundraise, independently, minimal contribution from our taxpayers, and having that perpetual care fund so that it can be taken care of. So often, as you all know in public works, a lot of times you find the capital to do the public work or the good, and then where's the sustainable funding for maintenance or replacement in the future? So thank you so much for the work that you've been doing on this, and I might have a couple questions if they don't get addressed by my fellow commissioners, but right now I'm going to open up to the commission for any questions or comments they have. Commissioners, Commissioner Kilgo.
Thank you. And thank you, gentlemen, for being here this evening. I echo the mayor's sentiments. I understand that Public Works in general is not that first thank you for your service type of job, but without our public service department, cities wouldn't function. It's that cog in the wheel that does everything. Everything touches it. So I imagine when this is built, Public Works employees and families from all over the country will come and visit Muskegon, Michigan. And that's what I see. So I love the idea. I did have one question, which is when I was looking at the conceptual things, is it going to be kind of up to the artist, or in one of those concepts, it kind of showed kind of 3 or 4 different monuments or attractions, not just one big thing in the little park area?
So I would say, first of all, we're public works people, so we have different ideas than artists would, per se. And the hope is that we would bring our ideas, our concepts forward, and then the artists would take it from there. But ultimately, it's going to be built in your community. We want it to make sure that it fits in the community, but represents the profession well. So nothing, as Derek mentioned, is set in stone at this point. We're simply just working on the ideas and the concepts, and hopefully the artists will help us to develop other ideas than what we currently have. So did I answer your
Yes,
question
sir.
properly?
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Commissioner Cochin.
Yes, thank you. So this is my ward, and I'm even more excited about it because this is the neighborhood that my aunt grew up in, and she loved to death. And she recently passed, and she was the city's first landscaper working for the Public Works Department. And so I think she would just be gassed to see this happening right there in her neighborhood. I love the design, the plow blade sign and the manhole cover. Like, I love all of it. I think it's really well thought out, and I really appreciate all the work that you guys have done to keep this alive because we all know how ideas can get put out there and they can be really great, and then somebody moves job positions and then it's done. So thank you very much for keeping this going, and also thank you for all of your work, because as the mayor and Commissioner Kilgo have stated, this is not very thankful work, and it's appreciated by everybody, but probably not commented on by most. So thank you. I do have a question, though, 2 questions. One is, in your work with Director Vanderhyde, the plowing situation, I'm assuming you guys have thought about that. Because, like, my head's kind of scratching, but I'm not a plow truck driver, so I just want to make sure that that's something that we have looked at. Because it is a big difference in what we currently do now. And so you'd have to come back in, and it looks like maybe the snow would go up into that trail there. I'm not sure what the thought process is, but I just want to make sure that that's on the radar. And then the other concern I have is in regards to, that is the polling location also, just next door at the Silversides, and we are taking out a big chunk of parking over there. And so I just want us to be mindful of that, especially since we used to have 3 polling locations in my ward. Now we just have 2. So since that is the biggest neighborhood that turns out for voting, a lot of them do absentee voting, but it is the biggest neighborhood turnout for voting. So I just want to make sure that we are being cognizant of that thought process. But overall, I really love the plan, and I really appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll take that one, and I'll just follow up and say that I will speak with the clerk and make sure that she's comfortable, with whatever the final plan might include, in that.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Cochin? Anything? Commissioner St. Clair?
I think this is a really great opportunity and a nice idea to recognize folks that we need every day but don't spend a lot of time being grateful for. I will say I'm a little disappointed that we weren't your first choice, but I'm glad you did come around to us. So
Well, I apologize for that, but it was my boss's idea and
Okay.
my hometown, so.
Fair enough.
We couldn't agree on locations, therefore, you know what? I got another one. I know exactly what town to go to.
thanks for thinking of us.
Thank you, Commissioner St. Clair. Anything else to ask or add, commissioners? Commissioner German.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and welcome. And, I'm looking forward to hearing more, and I think it's a good idea. And to echo what other commissioners have stated, a lot of times DPW don't get the recognition that it should. I've had the option to work with three DPW directors and learned so much over the years and have a different appreciation for the work and things that they do. Some of it that I found can be hazardous and dangerous. And a lot of people don't know that. But if you don't have skilled and trained people to do the work and maintain a city, it'll be looking like a dump, So I'm greatly appreciative of that. So looking forward to hearing more, and thank you for bringing this to the commission, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Commissioner German.
Yep.
Any final thoughts or questions to ask? Seeing none? Thank you so much, gentlemen. Really appreciate you being here this
Thank you.
evening and carrying this project forward. All right. Next item on our work session agenda is the City Commission Handbook. Good evening and welcome. Kindly introduce yourself and please report out on this item.
Sure, I am Leanne Mikesell, the Deputy City Manager. It's good to be here with all of you. So in your packet is a new commission handbook. This is something that the clerk and I have been working on for several months. The goal here was to gather up all of the policies that apply to commissioners and put them in one place so that it's convenient for you. I think very significant side benefit to this is having something available for new commissioners when they come on board. And then also having it as a reference piece for all of you as you continue forward in your commission careers, hopefully long commission careers. Some of these policies were a little old. And some of the things that we found were a little outdated as far as how we actually handle things today. So we did make some updates related to that. But the idea here is that it's a convenience for all of you. And I want to make the point too that this is going to be a living document. So I know that policies change over time, and this is a bit of a snapshot for where we are right now. Though there are a couple of things that we're proposing in here that are a little bit different. So, as you make decisions into the future, we'll just update this and make sure that it's correct as it can be for the time that it is. I'm happy to highlight some of the changes that we made. I did put a couple of items in the cover sheet. There is an addition to the purchasing policy that you haven't seen before now. We thought that it would be convenient to have a level of funding that could be approved purely at the division head level without requiring the city manager's approval as well. We didn't have that in the past. So the city manager's approval isn't any higher than it was before, but this just gives a step for division heads. And we also didn't make changes to spending limits related to what type of outreach we would need to do as far as getting bids or getting written quotes or doing requests for proposals and things like that. So those remain the same. As the change really was just to add that approval level for division heads. That's the major change that's in there. I think something else that is helpful to note is that there had been an attendance policy for commissioners that I don't know if anybody even knew existed because it's so old. And so we did, Ann and I brought that to you several months ago. The mayor did assign a small committee to work on that, which we did. So what's in this handbook is a result of that conversation, or those conversations with that committee. We did update allowances for travel because that is something that just came up. We did the finance department did an overview of all of our financial policies and update. That was part of that update. I did not give you all of the financial policies in this because most of it wouldn't apply to you. A lot of it applies to just specific requirements for that department. So. But those are the major things, and most of the changes were minor. I do have a list here of some other minor things, so, but I'm happy to answer some questions for you.
Thank you, Director Maxell.
You're very
Commissioner
welcome.
St. Clair.
Thank you. I very much appreciate this. I would have loved to have had this 4 years ago. I think that this will simplify things for new commissioners in a pretty significant way, so. Thank you for your work on this. As I was reading through, I did have one question that I think I got an answer to, but I would propose a minor language tweak under the travel section that talks about the fiscal year 2025. The mayor has $2,000 budgeted and each commissioner has $1,000 budgeted for travel. I think it's worth clarifying that that is travel or educational purposes, because there's a lot of virtual opportunities that you don't have to go anywhere, but that still comes out of that same pot for us, and I don't think that this makes that as clear as it could be.
I totally agree with you.
The chairman just wishes to clarify that our budget for education, travel, and registration is different than what's referenced in here, the dollar amount. So we might want to update this to be all-encompassing of travel, education, and registration.
So this is not.
That is not the current, what the legislative
LPC or the.
Officers Compensation
Yeah,
Committee
this was
recommended and was then adopted,
So this is still that same pot of money, it's just a different dollar amount attached to it now.
Well, this one in the handbook speaks only to travel, but if it's meant to encapsulate the registration, events, and education, then those dollar amounts are not accurate. That was one of my questions I was going to be wondering. Is like, where did these
That's
travel
what
dollars come from?
That's what I
Because
was
it was
wanting
not
to
broken out
understand.
between travel, registration, and
Yes.
education. It was one bucket for all of them.
Yes.
So it probably would be best to have the handbook reflect
Yes.
the totality of it, not just travel. I mean,
Agree.
yeah. So that was one area for.
It's certainly possible that I put these in before that recommendation.
Yeah, I just looked at the dates.
Sorry
We got
about
this
that.
finalized in the, I think it was sometime in October. They met in November, or I think they met just after this.
Yeah. Sorry
So
about that.
So that was the old one, but that's why we're looking at it before we enact it. So that would be the same bucket. So
I'll
and-
get that fixed.
just kind of a little context is Commissioner St. Clair and I were meeting and talking through it for that last officers compensation meeting when we were looking at adjusting the compensation and the travel or the educational allowance. We went back throughout history to figure out how that changed over time. And there was a point in time where there really wasn't an education budget. There was compensation for the commission, and it was kind of handled on a case-by-case basis, but it made it a little inconsistent amongst the commissioners. So there was a decision, it looks like in the early 2000s, where those two things were separated out, and each commissioner was given that flexibility over their own educational and travel to doing professional development. So, yeah.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I thought might be helpful is if you include the stipend that we receive, because I think that's always kind of a mystery to new commissioners, what that is, because I still have to like go back and calculate it from a pay stub, like how much does that? So that might be worth including also.
Thank you, Commissioner St. Clair. Yeah, I think that's
Sure.
a good idea, because not only is this a great reference for new commissioners, this is a great reference tool for anyone that is interested in running for city commission and
Yes.
understanding the various different policies and
Yes.
rules and related benefits and the like. So, thank you. Commissioners, anything else to ask or add at this time? Yes, I'll go to our newest commissioner, Commissioner Jackson.
I just want to say thank you for creating it because I used it. I was like the guinea pig for it, but it was very helpful to read through all of it. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for being the guinea pig.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Vice Mayor Keener.
When it comes to travel, could it be placed in there how far you have to go before like reimbursement for hotel expenses come in? Is there like a certain?
If there's not something in there now, we don't have a rule for it.
It's in there.
Okay.
Commissioner Cochin.
Yes, I would also like to thank you for putting this together and sharing it with us tonight, because I think that it is very helpful for people. And I echo Commissioner St. Clair's points as well. Like, those are questions I was like, oh, I'm going to ask that tonight. So I'm glad that she brought that up. I think that this talks about a lot of things. For folks at home that are watching, it talks about a lot of like the ins and outs of specific details, but it also goes over the social media use policy that we just enacted, as well as, just being a person of integrity and speaking to that, and how it could be different for every person, but that we want to be speaking to each other and to the public in a meaningful and polite manner. Sometimes things can get heated, but I think it is important that we all try to be polite. And so I do appreciate that being in there as well.
Yeah, that was something I remember paying attention to as I was putting this together. And, I think one of the things that comes to my mind is, we celebrated a week ago how diverse this board is. And for me, it's important that we have diverse voices and diverse perspectives when reviewing all the things that come in front of you. And so that might mean that there are more opportunities to not agree, but that's good. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. So yeah, making sure that everybody's on the same page for how to handle that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cochin. Before I go back to Vice Mayor Keener, has anyone that has not had an opportunity? Commissioner Kilgo.
Yes. Just wanted to clarify. I didn't want to interrupt you, Vice Mayor. Under travel costs.
Yeah, that's what my question was. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Yep. Sorry. Under travel costs, number 2, item C on the second page says commissioners may elect to use private vehicle for travel to destinations more than 300 miles away and will be reimbursed based on the current IRS mileage rate. So if you did have a question aside from that, that's all. I didn't mean to be rude and interrupt.
Oh, no, you're fine. I actually did. But I can wait. Because I still don't see it. My question was, how far do we have to go before hotel, not transportation itself, but for hotel fees are covered?
Okay, I think I understand what your question, what Vice Mayor Keener's question
Like
is.
if it's
is,
45 miles
for
away
instance,
from
like when we
here.
had the
Like MML.
convention, MML convention in Grand Rapids, it's a drive away, it's in a neighboring county. Is there flexibility to do hotel reimbursement for that? Given that this convention starts so early and it just might be easier than driving. I don't think it's, unless, correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy Manager, but I don't think that's necessarily clearly defined. I think that's probably at the discretion of the commissioner to be like, do you really need a hotel or not? Like, and you have a limitation on your total budget, and so it's your discretion to operate within that budget. But unless I'm overseeing something or overlooking something.
It's been a little while since I've read through it. Nothing's jumping into my mind that there was a mile limit. I suspect it's really covered under item number 2 under travel, and just, that we recognize that the commissioners are responsible adults, and they're going to take care and their expenses that they would charge to the city as they would for themselves.
Okay, that's what because MML, it was a little tough for me with it being so early, but it was just, I was grateful that I was able to use City of Muskegon Heights in a room with somebody from there, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to know for future.
Yep.
Mr. Manager?
And I guess that is something, because this would be also reflective of our travel policy in general, I believe, for the general
It
staff.
is.
So,
It is.
because looking at the meal breakdowns and things like that, as
Same.
we look to update those policies over time, is that a discussion we have? Like, what's the mileage limit? And some communities have it, some don't. So,
Mr. Manager? Who has not had an opportunity to ask questions? Commissioner German?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Deputy Manager. Stated some things and to revise this, and one thing that I could say, I commend you on your work that you've done here with the city over the years. You take that sensitive approach of listening to the commission, and then you come back with solutions, and that's greatly appreciated. I have witnessed that over the years. Even when it comes to making things equitable and fair among the commission and the community, and engaging the community to align with our policies and work that we do here in governance. I was looking under travel, and most of those questions has been answered. And I think the mayor had kind of clarified with the local compensations on how they have increased the not only the stipends but the professional development. So that would not be in here, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
right.
when you guys go to have the, if I may,
Yeah.
So when this goes up for final passage, which I think we're looking at the second meeting in January, we'll make sure that anything that's changed between when the draft was done, and Clerk Mish and Deputy Manager Mike have been working really hard on this for about a year. So that inevitably there's going to be some of the details that change. I know that, from the financial policy stuff, Director Grant and his team worked on updating some things that are in here. So we'll make sure that all those things mesh when they come. But the nuts and bolts of it are not going to change.
Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for your comments. That was very kind of you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you do excellent work, and like I said, we're grateful and appreciative to have you. Thank you.
Anything else to ask or add at this time, commissioners? Nope. Okay.
Well, I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Sorry, are you?
Well,
Do you
yeah, I
have
was
some
gonna-
other things? Okay.
Not to ask. Well, I guess kind of ask. So this is our pamphlet going forward for commissioners and prospective commissioners to understand the work that it entails under various rules and codes of conduct. It's a collection of policies, and so we're contemplating bringing it forward for adoption. Each individual policy is subject to modification standalone. So, because this includes some new policy or a modified policy from what that had been previously adopted by the city commission, standalone. And so now this is a collection, which I really appreciate the work of bringing this together and reviewing all of the policies. So thank you so much to you and the clerk's office for doing that. I know a couple of these items were contemplated being brought to the Legislative Policy Committee meeting for review and discussion beforehand, one of which was the attendance policy, one of which, the findings or recommendations of the ad hoc committee. Another one was with regard to proclamations, resolutions, and that we ended up not being able to get to that at the last LPC meeting, considering the others items on the agenda, and then a significant winter weather event barreling down on us, so we adjourned early.
Right.
So
I thought we had brought you the attendance. Am I mistaken?
no, it was not. It was pulled. It was not actually presented at the LPC meeting. It was on the agenda, but it was pulled and not actually discussed and addressed on the follow-up. Yeah. So
I know we didn't do the resolutions, but I thought we had done the attendance quite some time ago.
it was. We'll
It was
talk.
pulled?
Yeah. It did. So what I'm wondering is about bringing this to the next LPC meeting versus adopting overall as a handbook in terms of looking at the new policies or the modified policies specifically, because otherwise the handbook's just a collection of policies. And so looking at any of the individual policies that are being new or amended and reviewing those specifically.
So you're saying that you don't want to approve the handbook and changes, you want everything to be brought separately?
No, I'm saying any of the policies that had changes to them or the new policies being brought to the LPC meeting. I do like the idea of having this collection, the handbook, being on our, say, our organizational meeting every 2 years when the commission meets, and then the data being updated, such as the compensation that would be updated, or the reimbursement levels that would be updated, any other changes that would happen. So we have that at the our January organizational meeting to review and can accept, say this has been received and understood. And adopted collectively, I guess. We could always adopt it collectively that way. But the individual policies.
So I guess I just want to be clear on which things need to come separately, because even the city commission rules, we made a number of changes because what was in writing is different than how we actually do it here at the meetings. So do you want that brought separately as well?
Yeah, so I always prefer when we change our commission policies that we see what things were before and then what they are to become.
So do you want a red line?
Kind of, yeah, red line version. But that's just me. I mean, if the commission is comfortable with adopting this collectively as in its entirety without any consideration of previous versions of it, then so be it. That's just my personal preference. Commissioner Kilgo.
Thank you. So my feedback is, I actually met with Ms. Mikesel earlier and talked about the handbook, and I did spend all last week and this part of this weekend really digging deep and reading it. I'm comfortable with it. I do have my one question would be about the attendance part. Council's not here tonight, but as long as we adopt this and has council seen the handbook and looked at everything as far as saying, hey, yep, that's good if you adopt that?
I don't know that we have, because any significant change was like to a purchasing limit or something that they wouldn't really have an opinion on.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, as long as there's not anything in that particular section, that end section, I am comfortable if we brought it in 2 weeks, because it still gives us 2 weeks to, if we need a red line or if we need to see changes and stuff like that, to get it adopted so that all of us have it and new commissioners down the line have it. Thank you.
Commissioner German.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As for the attendance, I heard that come up a few times, and I do know in our LPC meeting, we briefly touched and had some dialogue on that. And in that conversation, how the approach, I should say, that how we would have moved forward addressing the matter I was uncomfortable with. And I just felt that it needed to be more revised and handled in another way. And if I remember correctly, it was almost like putting somebody on the spot. That's not who we are. I think that there's a better way and approach to address things. And I was not, for that. But that's something that we can revisit. I like to, if that's the direction the commission wants to go, have more dialogue on that, how we move forward in handling that policy when it comes to attendance. Because I think we can solve this, and we've solved things before and addressed things before amongst ourselves and have a good outcome on it. But just to call somebody out and address things in that manner is unacceptable for me, and that's why I was not in favor of it. So,
Thank you, Commissioner
yeah.
German. And you served on the ad hoc
Yes.
committee
Yes.
to review attendance policy. And
Yeah,
recommendation,
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Because that was the thing, we had met, it was on our LPC meeting,
Mm-hmm.
we reviewed we talked about attendance, we established a committee to review if any policy had existed and modified or bring forward a recommended attendance policy. And it was the recommendation from the committee that was at one point scheduled to be on our LPC agenda, but it did not actually get addressed at the LPC meeting. And so that's what I was suggesting, those things still happen.
Yeah.
But Mr. Manners, you had something to...
I was just gonna, basically what you were saying was that there was a committee that was formed of 3 commissioners, the deputy city manager and the clerk, who met to revise that policy because we did have the existing policy. So what came out of that was what that committee had recommended. So it was, I just want to make sure that it wasn't staff who was making changes to that attendance policy. It was the commissioners in conjunction with the staff who were working to make those recommended changes.
And I was under the impression that we had reached consensus, so I'm surprised.
So my recommendation would bring this to the LPC meeting. Like a lot of these policies exist already. We understand them. This is a reference point for us now to abide by. This may be a draft form of a handbook, but it is still essentially our handbook, even though it's not formally codified just yet. But many of the policies therein have been codified individually, and some are being proposed for adjustment. Some of which are pretty minor, maybe grammatical or technical. Others more substantive. And so I would prefer this be handled at LPC meeting versus this in 2 weeks, us looking at it and then deciding, oh, I want to change this, or I want to change this, I want to add this one. I'd rather not have that that dynamic at the next general session, or at the second general session of January. So that's my Commissioner Koshin, did you have something that you wanted to ask or add?
I was going to concur with you and Commissioner German over there. I do think that, because I also thought we had addressed this, but I do remember that we were told it's time to leave the building now. So, yeah, it's something that does need to be addressed separately, I think, and I would like to see it come to an LPC meeting so we can discuss that, since it is policy, in a little bit more detail. So that would be my suggestion as well.
Clarify?
Yes.
We're not just talking about bringing the attendance policy to LPC, we're talking about bringing the entire handbook.
Any aspects of it that are new or modified?
No matter how minor.
It doesn't mean that we need to debate those minor things, but I think it's good to have the red line version. If you have that on hand, I don't want you going back.
I will have to create it because
No,
I was
no.
not aware we were doing this.
So
So I'll have to make it.
I would encourage, this is my recommendation or encouragement as a standard practice, that when we are modifying commission policies, that we receive red line versions. So
Okay.
we understand the changes.
That will require me in some instances to have somebody type the original policy because I wouldn't have it in Word.
And we can use Adobe for those PDFs, because I know a lot of those are scanned PDFs that are quite old, and some going back to the 80s and the
not
90s.
searchable, yeah.
But we can convert PDFs to Word documents, and we'll just have to proofread to make sure that it's accurate.
Yeah, I know.
Because sometimes it's not perfect.
Point of information, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mayor. I'm just curious, is there specific, other than attendance, or is attendance is there a specific issue that you saw with the handbook?
Well, at our last LPC meeting, it was going to be discussing proclamations, resolutions. We didn't have that conversation. I was reviewing the proclamation policy in here. It looks like there are a couple sections removed from the existing policy that was adopted back, I think, '84. It said, and so other things just tweaked. So I just want to understand that, and. Then with regard to attendance, it does say that the mayor is responsible for determining excusing things, and so I wanted to discuss that, particularly if it is recognized as being excused, that the mayor has the latitude to share. So-and-so is excused because of a,
I'm going on
family
vacation.
situation, traveling, they're at their conference, like be able to give some detail, because otherwise, a lot of times people in the audience or at home are like, well, where's Commissioner so-and-so, like, why are they not there? And sometimes people think they're intentionally, like, for instance, I'll speak at our December meeting. Commissioner German was not able to be here because he was unwell. He had, if you don't mind me saying so,
No, go
Commissioner
ahead.
German,
No,
he had the flu, and he'd gotten so much flack. So many people were jumping down and saying, oh, he missed this meeting intentionally. He didn't participate in this. He's dodging the vote. And so just, if the mayor's going to be excusing absences, I'd like to have the ability to share, the reasoning for their absence and why it's excused.
Thank you. I was just curious. I tend to agree that if you have issues with a couple of things and you want us to tighten it up and really look at it so that it's right, then I'm fine with bringing it to the LPC meeting.
So in some instances with some of the changes, like the attendance policy, I don't know that it might be just easier to compare this as what the policy was originally and this is what we're proposing, because a red line version might not necessarily be.
Might not be very clear.
Yeah, because it was the committee. I wasn't on part of the committee, so I don't know how the work that they went through to do that. But some of it might be new from whole cloth, so it's not something that like we went through and changed these type of words in it, and I believe that from the proclamation and resolution conversation, I think the stuff that we're going to discuss at the last LPC, I don't think got put into this yet because we hadn't actually done those changes. That was going to be that would be an update at a later date. Because there were things that I have seen, I've taken from other communities and seen how other folks do that I thought would be interesting to discuss here, and if it was something that you guys wanted to integrate, but it hadn't been integrated in necessarily.
That's good to know, because I wasn't not aware. I guess I had the presumption that what you were proposing this, if we didn't get discussed, it got incorporated into here, but it's still separate.
Yeah.
But this policy here is slightly different from the previously adopted policy.
Yeah, I have a note that we updated the review process.
And then for recording of commission meetings, even though you have not made any change here, this is one change that I would put forward to the commission. And this is kind of why I'd like to discuss this at LPC meeting, some of these small tweaks, For instance, retention of records. Any recordings for commission meetings may be retained by the city clerk until the meeting minutes are approved. And I would like us to archive them. We do as a standard practice now, but I would like that our policy stipulates that these recordings are to be archived, so that the videos of our meetings or audios of our meetings are available for future review. And
For instance, under the recording of meetings, there used to be a requirement that each commissioner gets a copy of the audio for each work session meeting. So
As
we
before
removed that
yeah,
because
that's
we
before
don't do that.
Live stream. They used to do audio recordings of the clerk. She had a cassette tape down there. She'd record that. And then we added live streams for our work sessions.
Okay.
But There are, yeah, a couple other, few other things, but we don't need to get into that right this moment.
So I did add it to the LPC list for discussion. So we can do that in February, and then have a more in-depth discussion at that point. So.
Okay. Were there other questions or anybody wanted or?
Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Cochin and Commissioner Kilgo.
This is just more of a comment, but we were somewhere in the handbook. It was talking about the meetings, being recorded and things like that. And I know that we've had people who have had problems calling in, and I think it's because of the delay in time. And so I'd like to kind of discuss that part of it also at the LPC meeting, because I think it causes a lot of issues, and I think there's workarounds that we could do to fix it.
I would encourage you to bring forward any suggestions to staff, so those can be brought forward for consideration at the LPC meeting. So if there, I'm sorry, Commissioner Kilgo.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to point out a couple things. One is, at our last LPC meeting that was cut short because of weather, attendance wasn't one where it wasn't on that LPC meeting, so it must have been a previous LPC meeting that it was supposed to come to.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say is, our LPC meetings do get packed with stuff. So if we're going to bring this to an LPC meeting, I would just encourage everyone to have their issues with it, tweaks, changes, suggestions, like ready to go beforehand, so that we don't spend too much time on this, because I just happen to be meeting with Leanne about some transportation stuff, but we talked about this, but you've put in a lot of work on this, and I could just tell by our conversation. So don't get discouraged because we don't bring it to the next meeting and we bring it to LPC, we'll get it done. Yeah. But I would just encourage everyone to have the stuff so we can kind of be done with it and move to the next important topic that we have to cover.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Please don't get discouraged. So we're
No,
we
no,
greatly appreciate the work that you've done on this.
Oh, you've pretty much all said that, so I got the message, so thank you, but thank you for reinforcing. No, I'm not discouraged. We'll get there. I don't have a strong feeling about what day it needs to be approved, so if it happens in February, March, fine. I was grateful that we had a really good draft that we could have ready for when Commissioner Jackson arrived.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you for making sure she had that available to help get her acclimated and started. With regard to this coming to the next LPC meeting, if you typically we get that about a week before, but if you we already have this, so if you're not going to make any further changes, you might want to make a couple tweaks. Once you've based on what you've heard here, you might need to make a few tweaks. Once you've updated that, if you can send that draft to us, so we have that and as early, in advance as possible for the LPC meeting. And then I would ask the commissioners, once you've done that, to give any questions or concerns or suggestions for modification to Deputy Manager Mike Sell ASAP, and ideally at least a week before the LPC meeting, so that way she can collect those things and relay them back to all of us, so that we know what each other member of the commission might have questions or concerns about, so that we can come to the LPC meeting, as Commissioner Kilgo was just referencing, come to it absolutely prepared, ready to go, and make quick work of this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You have my most current version, and there are a couple of things that I noted that I need to tweak. I'm not sure how quickly I'll get the red line done. That's going to take a little bit more effort.
Even though I said that's standard practice that I prefer that going forward, I'm not expecting you to recreate that.
So
So
what I can do, probably much more easily, is add some comments, so, to the document that you currently have, and show, you know, where I did, you know, I modified, you know, the 2-year requirement to keep work session meetings, the recordings, you know, that kind of stuff. I can tell you, like, I won't have a perfect red line of these are the exact words that it used to be and these are the exact words that I am proposing, but I can summarize, this is a change we made. Will that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Anything
I'm
else?
so excited that we're going to have this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm this
Handbook.
close to having one for the employees too, which is a lot longer than yours.
Thank you so much. Really
You're welcome.
appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys too. Thank you. Appreciate your
Thank you.
comments.
All right. Well, that brings us to public comment.
I did
Mr.
want
Manager, you had
to,
something?
yeah, before, well, I guess, I mean, it could be part of public comment, but, so in the organizational meeting, we were talking about the depositories. So one of the, policies that we've been working on updating, that Director Grant and his team have been working on is the financial policy. One of the changes that's in that financial policy that'll be coming to you, soon is the ability to use a credit union for things like CDs and things like that. One of the reasons that we don't use a credit or as a credit union as our primary depository is there's certain services that we need like lock boxes and positive pay and things like that that a lot of times those smaller credit unions aren't able to. I'm actually only aware of one that does, and like I said last week, that they're not in the city either. So that's one of the reasons that we use those other traditional banks as opposed to the credit unions. But the updated policy will allow us to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that will be forthcoming.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. This is public comment time. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to give public comment at this time, I don't see any takers. We're going to go to the phones for public comment. The phone number is 231-724-6721. When you're calling in, please turn down any audio in the background, state your name, and if you're a City of Muskegon resident, which neighborhood you're calling from, and if you're not a City of Muskegon resident, which other township, village, or city you're calling from. And we've got our first caller. Good evening. You're with the City of Muskegon City Commission.
Yeah, hi, this is Ann Vandermolen from Roosevelt Park.
Welcome, Ann. You have up to 3 minutes to provide your remarks.
Okay, I would like to thank the Norton Shores Police for getting the guy who was watching child porn over in Norton Shores. And I'd like to thank the Whitehall Police for arresting the guy who volunteered for the Girl Scouts and was taking creepy photos of the girls at his pool. I hope that when DJ Hilton goes to prosecute those guys, he hears my voice in the back of his head saying, prosecute the hell out of creeps like these. No sane person wants creeps like these in society. No child wants to be a victim. To parents, I was a Girl Scout where I used to live. Not once do I recall having a man around our gatherings. It was all women and girls. Parents, protect your children the best you can. DJ Hilton has the power and the duty to keep these creeps out of our society. So do the cops. Thank you to the good cops who are trying to keep these creeps out of our society. No child wants to be a victim. We have to do all we can. Tonight, my mom and I just watched 2 or 3 school teachers or volunteer coaches who were arrested for molesting children. All we can do to keep these creeps out of society is try. We must try. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vandermolen. Appreciate you phoning in your comments.
Another call, Mayor. Brian McCarthy.
Good evening. You're with the City of Muskegon City Commission. Hello? Good evening. Hello? Guess we'll take the next caller. If there's another caller.
It's calling back.
Good evening. You're with the City of Muskegon City Commission. This is public comment time. Could you please state your name?
Hi, this is Brian McCarthy from Lakeside. I'd
Good
like to
evening.
offer an idea about item C regarding the City Commission handbook. In section D, number 4 makes note of parliamentary procedure regarding discussion. It would benefit our community to add procedural language here as to how a commissioner may call a point of order. Too often, Mayor Johnson, you are out of order, and your port of quorum is not corrected. Your interruptions to your fellow commissioners cause needless distraction to the flow of our meetings and are often so jarring that the commissioner who is speaking is derailed from their train of thought. This happened at last Monday's meeting when you interrupted and shouted down Commissioner German. I've seen the same shouting down directed at Commissioners Keener and Cochin as well. Mayor Johnson, you have publicly expressed that when a person engages in contractual relationships with our city, their personality and conduct should be separate from those agreements. I'd like to suggest you not apply this personal standard to your actions as mayor, as the agreement you have with our city is to legally and ethically dispense the duties of your chair as they are written. Furthermore, Mayor Johnson, you should be aware that your disruptive behavior likely has a chilling effect on the ability of your fellow commissioners to speak freely, particularly those who have shared their experiences where they were subject to aggressive and violent men in the past. Mayor, you should never interrupt or intimidate any member of this commission, and our rules should highlight how to call a point of order when you do. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Appreciate you phoning in and sharing your comments. Give it a few more moments. Does not appear we have any more callers for public comment at this time. Commissioners, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner St. Clair to adjourn, supported by Commissioner Kogo and Cochin. All in favor? Aye. Saying aye. All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you. Take care and be well.